Okay, so next we're going to do the properties of multiplication and division as they apply to equations. So let's start off with the identity property. So the identity property is what can I do with multiplication and division that I won't change any numbers? And that answer is always multiply or divide by 1. So if I want to get the identity property with multiplication, so right here I have 3 ones, so I'm going to do 3 times 1. If I want to create the identity property, I need to divide them into 3 equal groups. Okay. So the abstract of that would be 3 times 1/3. I put it into 3 equal groups. 1. Okay. Over here, I'm going to have to draw a box. So we're going to think about like a candy bar. So I've got 1 candy bar. Okay. Actually, this is going to be 1/3. So I've got a third of a candy bar. Okay. So I'm going to break my candy bar up into thirds. If I want to end up with my identity property, I need 2 more thirds. I need to multiply this times 3. And now, after I multiply it times 3, now I have 1. So 1/3 times 3 equals 1. Okay. So those are our identity properties. Okay. So let's come down here and let's apply that. So in the first problem here, I have 2x and I have 4. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. 2x on my left side equals 4. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this into equal groups. I'm going to go like that, like that. So I divided them into groups of 2. So that way now I can see 1x is the same as 2. Okay. And down here for this one, I think I have this as 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3. My lines aren't showing up. I think it's behind it. You know what, I probably could check. Yes. Okay. So we'll just move this up here so you guys can see that. Okay. So I have this divided into 4 equal groups, and I know that 1/4 is equal to 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a situation here where I have the identity property again. I'm going to get this to be 1 whole x. So I'm going to need 3 more fourths. I'm going to have to multiply by 4. So now I have 2/4. I have 3/4. I have 4/4. Okay. If I multiply this side by 4, well then I have to do the same thing to this side. So I'm going to create 4 groups of 2. Right? And so now that I can see 1 whole x here is equal to 8. So x over 4 is how I'd write that. 1/4 of x equals 2. Multiply both sides by 4. I end up with x equals 8. Okay. All right. So let's jump into some problems to try it out. Okay. So right here I have not something I want. There we go. I just had the slides in the wrong order. So I'm going to work through this the same way. I can see that I started off with 5 x's, and that is equal to 5, 10, 15. Okay? So I'm going to divide these into equal groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically I'm going to divide them into fifths. All right, and now I need to have the same in each group. So I have to divide them up equally. All right, and when I divide them into 5 equal groups, I can see that 1x is the same as 3. So down here, I divide them into 5 equal groups. I have x equals 3. Okay. I put up a new one. This is another thing I'll be grading whenever we come to the test. Modeling situations with algebra and being able to be flexible in your understanding of models will be something we'll address this chapter. Okay. All right. Here's another one where it got mixed up. So that's a third. Okay. So I have 1/3 x equals 2. So I need to create 2 more thirds. Okay. So now I have a full x. So let's see, 1/3 x. I'm going to multiply it by 3, and that's going to give me a full x. And then I need to do the same thing over here to this side. I multiply that by 3, so right now I have one group of 2. So I'm going to put 2 more groups of 2 up here to get to a total of 3 groups of 2. All right. And so 1/3 x equals 2. But when we multiply it by 3 to create that 1x, now I can see that x is 6.